Everybody's attention, please.
We'll worry about that.
My name is Darren Shisher, Chief Operating Officer, and the purpose of this meeting is for your 2025 board to organize, elect officers, appoint committees, and to set some schedules. So since there's not a current president elected by the board yet, I'll go ahead and start the meeting. It's 2:01, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Sorry, I stumbled over it.
The agenda calls for board member introduction, so maybe we can start at my right and go around the table.
I'm Larry Santora, and I was the assistant treasurer last year. Just to give a little bit about my background, I'm just a retired CPA with public practice all my life, and I served on boards like this for over 3 decades.
Chuck Hill, director. I've been in finance for probably over 30-some years, CEO of the company for 8 years, and also a CPA.
Brad Nickham, you probably have all seen my resume over the last few months. Been doing HOA boards since the 90s, CPA, investment banker, so on and so forth.
I'm Janine Grippo, and I have an economics degree and an MBA, but my career really was in software development and project and director for both capital improvement and maintenance projects.
Sherry Groupie, and I have a degree in agriculture business management, and have worked in real estate, sales, primarily management, and the business.
Hi, I'm Matt Campick. This is my 3rd year on the board. I was the president this past year.
Hi, I'm Sean Carterman. I'm delighted to be on the 2025 board.
Charlie Shawless, I'm recording secretary. I am, that's it. That's it.
Ray Coon, general manager.
Okay, let's get right to business. The first motion is to elect board officers for the 2025 year. Is there a motion?
I make the motion to appoint the following slate of officers: President Larry Santora, Vice President Chuck Hill, Treasurer Brad Nickham, Secretary Sherry Groupie.
Is there a second? Hearing no further comments, all in favor?
Aye.
The slate is approved. Congratulations on your election, and I'll turn the mic over to Larry Santora.
Well, as your new president, I don't know if I should be happy or sad, but I really think this was maybe a little bit of Matt's revenge for being such a pain in his you-know-what last year. So anyways, let's get on with this. I'm going to entertain a motion to appoint Janine Grippo as our assistant treasurer. Do I have that motion?
I'll make a motion to have Janine Grippo as assistant treasurer.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion from the floor? All in favor? That motion passed. Strategic plan reportings.
I make the motion to appoint the following slate of strategic plan liaisons. Hopefully you heard that. I make the motion to appoint the following slate of strategic plan liaisons. What I'm going to read to you are a series of goal numbers, the goal description, and then the liaison. make the motion to approve the following goal categories to be part of the 2025 strategic plan. Read each goal. Goal number 1, governance. Goal number 2, facilities. Number 3, finance. 4, staff. 5, food and beverage. 6, communications. 7, common area. 8, golf. 9, member experience. 10, sustainable membership.
Do we have a second? I'll second. Any discussion from the board? From the floor? All in favor? Favor? We're going to have a flavor to it. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Now, the next item will be board meeting strategic plan COO report outs.
I make a motion to approve the following strategic plan schedule for the Chief Operating Officer report outs. For the January meeting, it'll be goals 1 and 4. For the March meeting, it'll be goals 8 and 9. For the May meeting, it'll be goals 2 and 7. For the September meeting, it'll be goals 3 and 5. And for the November meeting, it'll be goals 6 and 10.
Do we have a second? Okay, discussion from the board? Any from the audience? All in favor? Raise your hand, say aye. Any opposed? None? That passes. Next item.
I make a motion to approve the following new member reception schedule for 2025. January 30th, 3:30 to 5, here, right where we are. April 24th, 3:30 to 5, and September 25th, 3:30 to 5.
Is there a second? Okay. Any discussion from the board? I'll just say that last year Sean did this and did a great job. We expect that she will continue doing a great job with this. So our new people benefited from that. Any discussion from the floor? All in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Our board meetings now.
I make the motion to approve the board of director meetings and committee chair meeting schedule. January 28th, 2 to 4 p.m., the board will meet at the Desert View Theater. From 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. that same day, the committee chairs meeting will be in the Agate room. February 25th, Mountain View Ballroom for the board meeting 2 to 4. There is no meeting of the committee chairs. March 25th, Desert View Theater 2 to 4 for the board meeting. The Agate room for the committee chairs 12:30 to 1:30. April 29th, a working meeting, Mountain View Ballroom from 2 to 4. And the committee chair meeting is not held that day. May 27th, a regular meeting, Desert View Theater, 2 to 4 for the board, and the Agate room from 12:30 to 1:30 for the committee chairs. June 24th, which is both an annual and regular meeting, Desert View Theater from 2 to 4 for the board meeting, the Agate room 12:30 to 1:30 for the committee chair meeting. There's no meeting in July. August 26th, Mountain View Ballroom for a working meeting of the board in 2 to 4 p.m. and no meeting is required for the committee chairs. September 30th, a regular meeting at Desert View Theater, 2 to 4 for the board, and Agate room, 12:30 to 1:30 for the committee chairs. October 28th, a working meeting, Mountain View Ballroom West, from 2 to 4 for the board, and no meeting required for the committee chairs. November 20th, 2025, Desert View Theater, regular meeting, 2 to 4 p.m. for the board, and the Agate room from 12:30 to 1:30 for the committee chairs. December 16th, a working meeting, at the Mountain View Ballroom West, and no meeting from 2 to 4, and no meeting is required for the committee chairs.
Do I have a second? Sharon, any discussion from the board? Let me just state that the reason for the working meetings was to be a little more inclusive of the residents, so that when there are general discussions going on regarding a particular agenda, then the residents will have a time to chime in and tell us what you think. Okay? And in a regular board meeting, we don't get that kind of time, so we kind of structured it a little different this year, and going to test it out, and hopefully it'll work just fine. Any discussion from the members here?
Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor? Okay, any opposed? Okay, that passes. All right, we'll get into the appeals teams.
I make the motion to appoint the following slate for the Code of Conduct Appeals Committee. Larry Santoro, who will run the meeting and writes the response. Chuck Kill, Matt Campick, Brad Nickham.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Matt, okay. Any discussion from the board? Okay, any from the floor? All in favor? Aye. Okay, any opposed? None, that passes. Okay, the next appeals team.
Board Appeals Team, Rules and Regulation Appeals. I make the motion to appoint the following slate for the Rules and Regulation Appeals Committee. Matt Gambit runs the meeting and writes the response. Sean Kretterman, Sherry Ruby, and Larry Santoro.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay. All right. Any discussion from the board? None. From the floor? None. All in favor? Raise your hand. None. Okay. Any opposed? None. That passes. Next appeals team.
I make a motion to appoint the following slate. Sorry, y'all. I make the motion to appoint the following slate for the Delinquency Appeals and Collections Committee. Sean Kreiderman runs the meeting, writes the response. Matt Campick, Janine Grippo, Chuck Kill.
I have a motion. Is there a second? Okay, Janine. Discussion from the board. This is a busy committee. I was on it last year, and Sean did a great job of writing the things up and talking to people about this. So it's one that's really important. So any other discussion from the floor? Okay, all in favor? Raise your hand. Aye. Any opposed? None. That passes. Okay. ACLPs.
I make the motion to appoint the following slate for the ALC Appeals Committee. Chuck Kill runs the meeting and writes the response. Brad Nickham, Larry Santora, Sherry Ruby.
We have a second. Sherry, okay, any discussion from the board? Any discussion from the floor? Okay, none. All in favor? Raise your hand. Okay, any opposed? No. All right, next item for the record articles.
I make the motion to approve the following schedule for the record articles. To be published in January of 2025. Matt Campick, we've already achieved that. February 2025, Larry Santora. March 2025, Janine Grippo. April 2025, Chuck Kill. May 2025, Brad Nickham. June 2025, Sean Kreiderman. July 2025, Sherry Ruby. August 2025, Matt Campick. September 2025, Brad Nickham. October 2025, Chuck Kill. November 2025, Janine Grippo. December 2025, Sean Kreiderman. January 2026, Larry Santora.
Okay, do I have a second? Yeah. Any discussion here? These articles are important because it's the way for the board to communicate individually to our residents. Do we have any discussion from the floor? All in favor? Okay. Next item. Our management meeting attendees. We're going to start with 2 management meetings. That may change later on in the year. Darren will be putting out a monthly report to all the board members, and we're going to see how that goes. So instead of trying for 12, we're going to get the first 2 in and then see where things go. So do I have a motion?
I make a motion, because it's on the piece of paper here, to appoint the following slate of attendees and management meeting schedule. February 20th, Chuck, Brad, Janine. March 18th, Matt, Sherry, Sean.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Janine? All right. Discussion? Discussion from the floor? Okay. All in favor? Raise your hand. Aye. Okay. That passes. Board committee liaisons.
I make the motion to appoint the following slate for board committee liaison. Committee, primary alternative, ALC, Sean Kramerman and Janine Grippo. Rules and Reg, Chuck Hill, Larry Santora. Finance, Brad Hickam, Janine Grippo. FWR, Chuck Hill and Matt Gambit. True Golf, Brad Hickam, Sherry Drupi. Cam, Sherry Drupi, Janine Grippo. Election Committee, Matt Gambit, Chuck Hill. Employee Appreciation, Janine Grippo, Matt Gambit. Unit Reps, Sean Kramerman, Sherry Drupi. Salbrook, EAC, Matt Gambit, Chuck Hill. Facilities, Janine Grippo, Sherry Drupi.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Janine? Any discussion from the board? Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, this is the one time I'm going to give you some pushback. If you would have asked my opinion, I would have offered it. You've got 3 new people coming onto the board. You've got 4 people that have been on the board. I've been on the board, this is my 3rd year. I've been intimately involved with common area maintenance and obviously with golf. Served 4 years on the MPNGA board, including being the president. Almost 2 years as the chairman of the golf committee. And of course, the last 2 years intimately involved in the transition from invited to term and the changes in our golf enterprise. So there was an opportunity for the group that built all of this to take that experience and at least put me somewhere as an alternate liaison. You've chosen not to do that. I caution all of you as you go forward with the board is to do a better job of taking experience, somebody who's been in the foxhole, doing the fighting, and married up with people who haven't been in there and come on to the board as new board members. Have a lot of trust and confidence in everybody here. Just didn't maximize how you're going to utilize the experience in these critical areas.
I'll just make one quick response, is that Sherry's background is agribusiness. That was her life. And with that experience, she was the obvious person to head up the Common Area Maintenance Committee. And as part of the golf committee, because of the golf is nothing but the agribusiness. That was the decision, I guess, that was made for those areas.
I would add to the golf piece. I felt it was important to have a board representative on the golf committee that was not perceived as being very golf focused. And I had been spending months getting to know Sherry, going back to August, I guess. And she has proven to be extremely willing to work with golfers to fill in the blanks. One of the biggest challenges this board has is earning the trust of the vast majority of our homeowners. And it's obvious over the last year that golf has kind of been a point of contention. So that was the thinking behind it. Bring in someone like Sherry, or it could have been Janine, who is perceived as being a golf net like I am, like you are, so that people believed and trust in the conclusions that are going to be made over the coming months.
Any other discussion?
Yes. I concur with Matt about the golf business. Sherry, do you golf at all? A little bit? A little bit, okay. Okay, I just want to go by your golfing. Okay. When I look at this board committee liaisons, you have me as a director just doing 2. You have Brad, I know he's going to be busy as a treasurer, just doing 2. I think giving Sherry as the secretary, having done that position last year, and done a good job, I think. Having 4 commitments, and I see Janine having 4 commitments. I think you need to share the wealth a little bit more. And Larry, you have none? Are you not going to be a liaison to any of the committees? Okay, I'm sorry, I see you now on fitness. No, I don't see Larry's first name. Oh, there he is, on Rules and Regs. Okay, so you have 1. But I'm just saying that they're carrying a lot, and they carried a lot giving the nominations and the motions and all that too, and that could have been spread out a little bit also. So I'd like you to take into consideration that maybe take Sherry, well, I would say take Sherry off golf, put Matt on, and put me on as employee appreciation.
I think that the golf situation is pretty well settled because of her background and the request of Brad and some of the golf committee. So that's not going to change. Common area, that's Sherry's background, so that's not going to change. I'm on there for one time because now with the new COO, I will be spending much more time in that arena as opposed to being a liaison with the committee. And so that will be taking up most of my time. Any other comments, suggestions?
Well, just please remember that this whole board manual was designed by 4 people, as I understand it. I had no input, Matt had no input. So some of the decisions that were made, I believe, were skewed.
They may have,
Pardon?
I said they may have been skewed somewhat. A lot of it was based on background and the perception of what went on last year with the trust with the community. And we're trying to get around that this time. So.
Yeah, we can talk and go round and round and round. Here's the point. The point was all of us should have been involved in the conversation, and so all of these things could have been already talked about.
Just like last year, I wasn't involved in any of it. It was just given to us. Chuck was not involved in any of it. So that's quick. We can go on. We had a motion. We had a second. Any comment from the floor?
I have a comment.
Yes.
I tend to agree with Matt and Sean. When you set up a liaison, there should be some continuity of transfer from year to year. There should never be 2 new liaisons placed on any board that have no previous background experience. They have no history of what has transpired previous to the point of the very first meeting. That's very bad for any coordination that takes place. So there should normally be, on the primary liaison, should be someone that has been either the primary or alternate from the previous year, and the alternate liaison should be a new person if you want to transition it to go in that way. That's point 1. Point 2, I take exception to Brad. You're talking about transparency. This is what the community has discussed in is the fact that we have 7 members of this board, and when you purposely go in and remove members, it comes back. This is going to come down as the new people that are coming in and basically running away with your agenda and not the agenda for the common good of this community. We have 7 members here. All 7 members, when decisions like this are being made, should be instrumental in voicing their decision and voting on this. So what has transpired up to this point is horrendous. You are starting off from day one and establishing a very poor look to the community. That's all I have to say.
As far as participation on the committees, I just had a question, because I wasn't sure on this.
We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry, I'll talk louder. Yeah, as far as participation on the committees and some background knowledge, have these committee members that have been nominated attended some of the meetings in the past? Sherry, have you attended golf committee meetings this past year?
Yes, quite a few.
Quite a few, okay. What about common area, did you?
Yes.
And what was the question for some of the others, did they attend?
I was on the golf.
Yeah, I saw Brad at quite a few of them.
Meetings, I've been on boards of the golf.
So that was just my question about that part, is at least some transition.
Hi, Lauren Spence, Unit 28. I have a question. Since there's a concern about not having the continuity, can you leave the members on that you suggested and add a member to it to get the continuity that you're talking about?
Sure, that's a good idea. Yeah, I think the more the merrier, but my question is, what is SBPAC?
Affairs Commission.
What is
It's the
it?
Public
Affairs.
Public affairs, okay. I think you should spell it out, because when it goes on video, nobody's going to know what that is. Sounds like the Pet Association.
We can address adding people in the future, and that's going to be something at our next working meeting to discuss that and see where that goes. Okay. So we've had a first, we've had a second, and we had discussions. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? We have 2 opposed, 5 for. That passes. Next item, Finance Committee.
Okay, I make a motion to appoint the following slate: Ray Adams, the new chairperson, Finance Committee; Lori Leclerc, Joseph Stiskel, Jean Noble, and Steve Wiley.
Do I have a second? Discussion from the board? Above from the floor. Ray, are you here? Do you want to say a couple words?
No.
That was long.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Rules and Regs Committee.
I make the motion to appoint Michael Lean as the chair of the Rules and Regulation Committee.
Janine, second. Discussion from the board. Michael's taking over for Ray, who is now the chair of the Finance Committee, so, you know, kind of, Ray didn't want to have to do both. So Michael's been on there a long time, he knows the stuff, and everybody asked him from the committee to stay and do this. So, do we have discussion from the floor? Okay, all in favor?
I make a motion to appoint the following slate for the golf committee: Al Citrone, Terry Hill, Nick Nicholas.
And Janine seconded it. Any discussion? from the floor? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. That passes. Our upcoming meetings. So we're getting to the end here. We have two scheduled. A regular board meeting for January 28th, as it was on the schedule at 2 o'clock at Desert View. And February 25th will be our first working meeting where we expect the residents to chime in and talk to us. Okay? Other than that, let's have some homeowner comments before we adjourn. We're going to change this up too. We always used to adjourn and then have homeowner comments. We're going to change that to have the homeowner comments and then adjourn. Okay? So yes. Here, Mike.
I'm not asking for an answer now, but something that the board might want to consider. I understand that to be a board member, you need to live here 9 months of the year, and I think that's great. But to serve on a lot of these committees, they have the same rule, 9 months. And I think there's a lot of us that have things to offer and would like to serve on the committees. It may be some of the committees could have 6-month residency. With this, I would say I used to live in the villas for 10 years before I moved over onto Skyline. During that time, I was president of the villas for 5 years. I flew back when things were in need. I lived here 6 months, and I also kept up with things by the internet, by FaceTime, by Zoom meetings. I think we've just got so many ways to communicate that I think you might be losing a lot of people that would really like to serve on committees and can't because of the residency requirement. So I'm not asking for a question. You say no?
I'm going to dispute you, Maureen. I don't know where to look it up, but for the ALC committee, we have people that are not, our 2 chairs aren't here.
I know I tried to serve on a committee and I was rejected because it was a 9-month residency.
I don't know where that is. We'll have to.
That was on the election committee because I asked to serve on it and I was told no, I could not.
It was true, it's no longer true.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That's not in the rules.
What is that committee? It's to be on a committee, not the board.
No, I'm talking about a committee, and they told me
Talk about committees, yeah. I don't think there's a residency requirement,
Okay.
just for the board.
But it's not in the rules.
So, any other comments? Well, if there are none, I'm going to call this meeting adjourned. Okay, let's take that motion to adjourn. Okay. Thank you for coming. We hope to see you at the next regular meeting and at the working board meeting.